My name is Harry, and I'm from London.
Meghan Markle here.
Today is February 3rd, 2026. It is 1:17 a.m. So I got a lot to share with you. I haven't been on X that much. I did put a list together. So let's go straight to Twitter. Alright, come on. A lot of things that being talked about, or at least that's coming under my timeline, has to do with the Epstein file. Alright, but I went through some stuff and I was able to grab some tweets that's relevant to you guys. Okay, first one. That broken printer was made for evil, but won't God do it? I wasn't sure when I came across it 7 hours ago. There's me who responded, said, okay, what did I miss? I wasn't sure what they're talking about. I'm still not sure what they are talking about, unless the only thing I could think of is the Epstein file, because we're seeing the Royal family, all bunch of names coming out, with the exception of Harry is far away from that. That's the only thing I could think of to say thank God the printer wasn't working. All out, where they kick Harry out and he's not part of the nonsense that's going on over there, because right now the royal family names is just being dragged to the dirt. Okay, option 5 printer option 5 printer only makes it. There's that here. The squad have a way of doing things every single time. Yep, because look at what all those unbroken printers in Washington DC Justice Department just spit out. So that's the only thing I could think of. What did I miss? Okay, some people are saying the same thing. So thankful it broke. When he do it, that broken printer needs a Nobel Peace Prize at this point. There's that. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Okay, so the squad are talking about it. Now, next one. This one has to do with Ravik. What happened? Did they remove it? Oh, suspended account. What happened? Let me pause and see if I could find... let me pause for a second. Okay, looks like they suspend that account. I don't know. I cannot find the tweet that I put on the list. It had to do with Ravik. So they remove it. Sometimes when I come across the tweet, I don't think they're that important. But when something like that happened, you realize the importance of it. Because that was one of the most important tweets that I put on the list. It had to do with Ravik. I haven't paid too much attention with the lawsuit that's going on in the UK. Thank God, Harry's one was, I think, like one of the first one, the first week. So I got a chance to get over it, because now there's so many news that's going on, especially with the Epstein file. So there's a lot of noises that's going on social media. Okay, next tweet. Imagine this whole ass millionaire telling Harry he can't afford the expense of Meghan. If you haven't read Spare yet, get on it. Alright, so let's listen to that. 3 minutes and 22 seconds. I didn't listen to that yet. Let's see.
So Chuck and Willie were horrible the day that Harry asked the Queen, his grandma, for permission to marry Meghan.
Chapter 33. Cloudy, blustery day. I jumped into the venerable old Land Rover, the ancient army ambulance that Grandpa had repurposed. Pa was behind the wheel, Willie was in the back. I got into the passenger seat and wondered if I should tell them both what I was intending. I decided against it. Pa already knew, I assumed, and Willie had already warned me not to do it. It's too fast, he told me. Too soon. In fact, he'd actually been pretty discouraging about me even dating Meg. One day, sitting together in his garden, he predicted a host of difficulties I could expect if I hooked up with an American actress, a phrase he always managed to make sound like convicted felon. Are you sure about her, Harold? I am, Willie. But do you know how difficult it's going to be? What do you want me to do? Fall out of love with her? The three of us were wearing flat caps, green jackets, +4s, as if we played for the same sports team. In a way, I suppose we did. Pa, driving us out into the fields, asked about Meg, not with great interest, just casually. Still, He didn't always ask, so I was pleased. She's good, thanks. Does she want to carry on working? Say again. Does she want to keep on acting? Oh. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't think so. I expect she'll want to be with me, doing the job, you know, which would rule out Suits since they film in Toronto. I see. Well, darling boy, you know there's not enough money to go around. I stared. What was he banging on about? He explained, or tried to. I can't pay for anyone else. I'm already having to pay for your brother and Catherine. I flinched. Something about his use of the name Catherine. I remembered the time he and Camilla wanted Kate to change the spelling of her name because there were already 2 royal ciphers with a C and a crown above. Charles and Camilla. It would be too confusing to have another. Make it Catherine with a K, they suggested. I wondered now what came of that suggestion. They turned to Willie, gave him a look that said, "You listening to this?" His face was blank.
Okay, so this reminds me of some headlines at the time. Just a quick pause here. This is not from Harry's book. This hit the press, and I wasn't quite sure about it. I didn't know at the time because remember I was a fan. For those of you who know, I was like a fan of hers for a minute because of the image that they crafted for her, right? But go ahead and pause if you want to read it. But what stood out to me was that her friends, those on the receiving end of her email. And maybe they were press. Maybe it was her friends in the press. I don't know. And that's it. Okay, back to Harry.
Pa didn't financially support Willie and me and our families out of any largesse. That was his job. That was the whole deal. We agreed to serve the monarch, go wherever we were sent, do whatever we were told, surrender our autonomy, keep our hands and feet inside the gilded cage at all times, and in exchange the keepers of the cage agreed to feed and clothe us. Was Pa, with all his millions from the hugely lucrative Duchy of Cornwall, trying to say that our captivity was starting to cost him a bit too much? Besides which, how much could it possibly cost to house and feed Meg? I wanted to say, she doesn't eat much, you know, and I'll ask her to make her own clothes, if you like. It was suddenly clear to me that this wasn't about money. Pa might have dreaded the rising cost of maintaining us, but what he really couldn't stomach was someone new dominating the monarchy, grabbing the limelight. Someone shiny and new coming in and overshadowing him. And Camilla. He'd lived through that before, and had no interest in living through it again. I couldn't deal with any of that right now. I had no time for petty jealousies and palace intrigue. I was still trying to work out exactly what to say to Granny.
The thing with Harry telling the Queen that he wants to marry Meghan, Harry was so smart about that. Okay, and that part of the video sort of explained a little bit where he sort of isolate the Queen. He let all the others go because if he had told the Queen in front of all of them, they would have persuaded the Queen to say no. So Harry knows all of them, their character, and that's why his royal fat fingers is in his ball. That is why his royal fat fingers is in his bald-headed son. Reputation are in the toilet now. Alright, so plus many other things they have done. I'm surprised it's not even worse than that. I'm telling you, some people have are giving them a pass, the royal family a pass, because it should have been way worse than what it is now. And we have to be very careful, the rest of the population, to not fall into their persuasion. Okay, because they're really good at that. Not just the UK, because the US is adopting that same kind of maneuver tactic of persuading the people to think of something else.
You desired squirrel!
Alright, so right now while the Epstein file is all out, we're hearing a couple things here and there, because a lot of people are in, you know, I don't know what trouble they should be in, but the people, the population should hold them accountable for what they do to children. May Virginia Giuffre rest in peace. But the persuasion of changing the mind, make them forget of the real issue and focus on something that meaningless. So, but anyway, I could go on with that because the US is pretty much copying, adopting the UK kind of tactics. They already grab all form of communication and things like that to throw their propaganda out there. Alright, next tweet. If you can only be told because somebody's on their knees, then you have serious problem. And my feeling is white people have a very serious problem. Toni Morrison. the royal family asked Meghan to be 50% less than who she was. Okay, I have that video of Gail asking, I think that was after the Oprah interview, Harry and Meghan Oprah interview. The following day on CBS, they were talking about it.
She'd been given advice that it would be best if she could be 50% less than she was.
Wow.
That was the quote. If she could be 50% less.
And by the way, Oprah was mentioning this not during the Oprah interview that she did with Harry and Meghan. I believe it was a little bit either after they got married, and Oprah was in their house, Frogmore, I think, or wherever they were, and they were talking, and Meghan mentioned it to Oprah. So during that particular interview, the day after the interview, the Oprah interview, Oprah was talking about it. That's what my memory is telling me.
And I remember hearing that in 2018.
Yeah.
And said specifically to her, I don't know how you're going to survive being half of yourself.
I think it is. And there you are, all strung out. And all you got is your little self. And what is that? What are you without racism? Are you any good? Are you still strong? Are you still smart? You still like yourself? I mean, these are the questions. It's part of it is, yes, the victim, how terrible it has been for black people.
Like that.
I'm not a victim. I refuse to be one.
And the victim is the other person who is morally inferior. And
That's
who
a
has
serious
to hold
question.
on to
Of course.
racism
If you
to
have to
somehow
hold, that's
for
it.
his or her own self-esteem and definition.
If you can only be tall because somebody's on their knees, then you have a serious problem. And my feeling is white people have a very, very serious problem. And they should start thinking about what they can do about it. Take me out of it.
She had been
Toni Morrison, I think she's the mentor to, what's this lady? What's her name? She donated a lot of money to a lot of black institutions. And she's white, by the way. Toni Morrison was her mentor. What's her name? I can't think of her name. Alright, let's focus on that because I do not have too much time. Alright, when was the first time you thought that Meghan wasn't going to get what it means to be a royal duchess? Like many other people, when Harry first introduced Meghan to us and they got engaged, I thought this is going to be a good thing, a new way of looking at royal life, a different perspective, someone who understands the pitfall of privilege. It didn't take long for me to think, I'm not so sure. The thing that made me reconsider was the Fab Four interview in February 2018, the one where Kathleen was pregnant and William. Okay, I felt like I read this on another video. So this person who retweeted that, who bring this along again, is bringing a different perspective of it. Because I read that, I made reference to some of the topic here, key issues that this person is bringing. Because what was it? Feel good about themselves. So I think this is why she's bringing this again. That's probably someone else who brings this screenshot here. Because I spoke about it on another video. But a different perspective. The thing that made me reconsider was that Fab Four interview in February 2018, the one where Kathleen was pregnant and William admitted that they didn't always agree. And the thing that bothers me about it was that, this is the part here, Meghan didn't care who she upstaged. I don't even think Meghan was even thinking about that. She was just talking and expressed her thought in response to the question that was asked of her. Kathleen was clearly physically uncomfortable. Who cares? That's her problem. She's uncomfortable. In any case, she always comes across as someone who doesn't enjoy public speaking. What I've said in my past video about this is that public speaking is not easy. Okay, so was Meghan supposed to put herself down so the other one could feel better because the other one cannot do public speaking? And the other thing that I say is that there's a blueprint Princess Diana left. Princess Diana was doing public speaking fine. People understood her and when she does her public speaking. But Princess Diana took it upon herself where she felt like she could be much better. What did she do? She hired a coach. So why can't the other one do the same thing if you lack of something? And the other thing as well is that she chases William for 10 years. I know the media is trying to erase that part, but pretty much, yeah, change school, do all of that, waiting for William to ask. She knew what the job was entail. Instead of doing all of that, she could have do other things to prepare herself for the position. Meghan just took that microphone and showed off. She wanted to be a person. How do you know? She wanted to be a person that everyone remembered, admired, looked up to. Nobody else mattered. How do you know all of that? I sort of understand how it happened. She was an auditioning actress. Okay, you could read the rest. All right, it's just full on BS. I've highlight this particular screenshot on it didn't have all of this part here. As Oprah put it, they wanted her to be less than 50% of herself, and as time has shown, that didn't apply only to the royal family. It extended to the sycophantic royalist friend who felt threatened by Meghan. Alright, thank you for reminding us of those words of Toni Morrison. They can apply to a lot of people thinking the ICE government thug that are causing pain to so many people in the country right now. Yeah, I mean, it's just distraction. There's something bigger that's gonna come. What ICE is doing is physically, okay, distracting, giving the American people a different thing to worry about, because Trump is doing a lot of things. From what I've seen, there's some thing that he was supposed to renew that has to do with Russia, with military thing. So there's so many things that's going on. Trump is just destroying everything that was built up, that made America what it was, to a certain extent. He's just destroying everything. So what ICE is doing is pretty much to distract the American people, give the American people something else to wear. This is why he went straight up for the gangs. That was his first move, because if the gangs were still around, ICE will not be able to come and do those things to the people. So the gangs that were much tougher, I mean, these are things I spoke about. I'm telling you, some of the things that I said, usually when they first come out of my mouth, okay, I usually say allegedly and give you my opinion of things like that. They later come true. Alright, the Epstein thing, I don't know if you realize, I don't really talk too much about it. Well, I do have some lists, I just never got a chance to record them. I don't really talk too much about it because I'm not surprised. These are things I've been saying. So the U.S. government got to a certain point, the Trump administration got to a certain point where, okay, we could release some of the names. And I think it's not all of the names. They actually put the victims' names out. There's some victims that are very upset about that. Trump doesn't care. Right? But there are some people, the men who were doing the abusing those little girls. There's some names that I believe that they didn't put out. They're still protecting these people. Why? Because I felt like whatever the system that making the puppeteer, whoever's controlling, who decided when those documents put out, are still holding these people's name because they need something from them. I think there's much more important people's name that's still on the list they didn't put out. But instead, they've already put names out that we already know. We knew Andrew was there. We knew some other things. But instead, they put the victims. The victims are weaker. They can't do much anymore. They don't need anything from them. But the perpetrators, they need something from them. So they don't put all of their names out. But anyway, you should not be surprised by any of this. There was someone who tagged me on X, MeidasTouch, a video. Pretty much, I was listening to MeidasTouch video thing. I felt like it was me talking. I wasn't too surprised about it. Let me see if I find it since I'm talking about it. Okay, this is it. Yes, the person tagged me on it. It says here, dark secret of Trump and Putin and Epstein files reveal. There's the link of the video. I'm not gonna play it, and the person literally tagged me in here. Alright, now these posts have logical and reasonable information. Putin, Ghislaine Maxwell, her father, and cause of his demise, Epstein, Trump, etc. Millions of files echo unreleased. Okay, so there's me responding to some of them here. The next step is to let Americans accept the Epstein files, relieving the pedos from their, I think I spelled it wrong, relieving, okay, E-I, there should be an E here, the pedos from their duties, voting versus Americans. It's up to Americans to make these people pay for what they have done. While they were partying, their bodies were stealing our eggs. Right, okay, eggs is our right. I'm sure there are more files. Okay. And then there's me here explain again. Them, all of these are the people who betrayed, you know, who make Trump do some of the things that they did. Okay, them laughing at MAGAs and telling them thank you for helping them take down USA from within. Okay, and these are the Republicans who went to Russia on, July 4th. Okay, these are backstabbers. They never get reprimanded for what they did on 4th of July. Okay, there's me again. I'm not surprised by any of this new info. The only thing is that there are names. Some of the names were allegedly are now facts. Some of the things that I have said. Okay, I hope YouTube and YouTube creator can let my channels can now run organically and stop suppressing it. That's all. That was kind of a joke here, the last sentence, because it seems like my channel's been suppressed because some of the things that I said, they know it's true, even though it's my opinion. Alright, let's get back to this. This was the next tweet, right? You all saw that Epstein email. He said, quote, no black girls, end quote, with a hard ER. That's exactly the same type of time the royal family is on. Meghan was their scapegoat, her kids too. They were never going to protect her. She told them she was suicidal and the attack got worse. Alright, so that's when Meghan was, they never asked if she was okay. Okay, honestly, I can recall watching this. It broke me to see Meghan so emotional. Also, maybe he found black girls will be too smart for his attention. Could be. And they will have handed his ass over to the authorities long before. Yeah, I mean, not only their racism and things like that. If you see the things, okay, perfect example, the 2024 election. They did not get black Americans, especially women, to sway the other way. We were so focused. We knew what was best for the country. So, yeah, like some of this response here, they know they won't be able to manipulate a black girl. The mind is too strong. The others, they grew up in fears. Okay, even when the public started speaking up, the British media felt emboldened to make her life miserable. I remember this day, she was so fragile and the British media tripled down. I'm so glad she is free and happy now. We saw through it very fast and acted accordingly. Made many bitches cry and all. Alright, except she was not a scapegoat. She simply refused to comply. You know what? If you feel that way, you just need to experience it. Okay? You just need to experience it. And she quit the job. No, William. Okay, let me respond that and then black. Okay, so there's my typical receipt here. There's me here. Harry and Meghan wanted to stay. It was William who made sure that they were out. William even hired Simon Case to put it in writing, officially, that both were out, not working royals. It was said in court, and Harry mentioned it in his book, Spare. Don't try to rewrite history. Alright, so there's that. Alright, so let's block this guy. Spewing nonsense. Sometimes these things need to be said because you don't know who a new fan or someone new who's trying to find information why the media is hating on Meghan. So when these people are putting those misinformation, you don't want the new person, to come across those BS. These people are crazy. Let me move to the next one. There's some tweets I need to block. Let's block this. Harry is not a doctor to treat Meghan. They did what they had to do. Let's go to the next tweet. I'm telling you, these people, these probably bats too. Anyway, next tweet. Ex-Yachtgurl, Kate Middleton's friend Richard Branson, who was accused of sexual misconduct in 2017 by Antonia Janney, told his pedophile friend Jeffrey Epstein, quote, "I would love to see you again as long as you bring your harem." Wow. Okay, Sir Richard Branson told Epstein, "Bring your harem," and advised him on PR New Emails New Email Show. Sir Richard Stem said he will never have used this term if the full fact had been known. January 2026. These people. Sir Richard Branson told Jeffrey Epstein he would love to see him again as long as you bring your harem. And emails newly released from the Epstein file. And the exchange from September 2013, the disgraced financier also asked for Sir Richard's thoughts on a public relation matter, apparently after visiting him the previous day. The Virgin boss, Virgin, that's the name of his business. Does he still own it, the airline? The Virgin boss responded saying it was really nice seeing you and that Epstein would be welcome to visit again, adding, as long as you bring your harem. Sir Richard's team said he will never have used this term if the full fact had been known, and was repeated, a phrase used by Epstein. Oh, Jesus. So that's that. Let's go to the next one. Okay, so there's some stuff that I saw regarding the, you know what, let me pause for a second. I'm gonna leave this for, if I record later, it will be in the next video. So because I had some other tweets regarding the Epstein file, so let's add them instead. Okay, something like this. I'm not gonna go through all of this, okay? I'm not gonna read all of this, but I'll show you. You could pause your screen and read. So this is something I had put, I think since yesterday. I never got a chance to record them. This interview that Sarah Ferguson gave aged well. All right, 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
So I wanted to ask you about these allegations that have surfaced about Prince Andrew, your ex, you call him your favorite ex, that it's from a woman who says that between 1999 and 2002, when she was underage, she was forced to have sex with Prince Andrew on several occasions. What was your reaction when you heard that?
Well, knowing him as I know him, and he's one of the greatest men I've ever met in my life, and my best friend, and great father to my children, I just thought, I don't understand in this day and age how people can make salacious lies up, and how the media actually then write about it, and then follow on with it, because I just don't understand. This is defamation of character of a person that is the opposite to how he's being portrayed. So Buckingham Palace put out a denial, and
on his behalf.
On his behalf, and that's how it works within the royal family. And they stand by that denial. There is no more. There's nothing more to be said. And I think it is just shockingly accusatory lies, which I won't stand by and let anybody believe, or I just have to shut it down right now.
Was it hurt, your first reaction, or anger?
Total fury.
Total fury.
Yes, because we are such a family unit, and you know yourself, Meredith. I think you've interviewed me many times on whatever else they've written about me. So I know what it's like to have this about you and not be able to say, you know, I never did it, I didn't do that, I didn't do this, because then everyone goes, oh yeah, really? So the truth is, I want to say it on his behalf, and I want to for the bitches and 26 and 24. And they're beautiful, courageous children. Can you imagine what they've seen with their mother, having gone through negativity in the press, now their father? You know, back off. We are a really solid, beautiful family, and that's really it.
So what are you saying in the confines of your home, the four of you?
That we will not be defeated, we are impenetrable, and that we will show by success.
The truth must always come to the surface. As I'm listening to her, this is not to give her any excuse. She's part of the problem as well, okay? As a woman, I understand she need a roof over her head and all of that. Yes, yes, yes. But as I'm listening to her, not only she's part of the problem, I feel like the royal family used her to speak when Andrew should have been the one defending himself. I don't know. Alright, Prince Philip himself, no saint, really despised Sarah. According to a diaries published by the Daily Fail. You could pause and read. She highlight the portion here. And there's more. This is the thing with the squad. They have receipt. Alright, a confirmed PDF enabler. She can lie with a straight face. She is vile, she knew, she enabled, and she defended. She is an embarrassment to women. Yeah. She even took money from Epstein and was calling a friend even after he was convicted. So disgusting. But anyway, this, I don't even want to go further. Next one. The royal family used her to go out to defend them. Meanwhile, they're protecting Andrew. Okay, next week. House of York recap. Pointing down here, daughter off on a shagging weekend. Dad jet setting with Epstein hovering over young girls and allegedly accused of rape and conspiracy to murder. Mother emailing the same convicted pedophile asking him to marry her and loan her money to cover the bills. All of them fully titled, fully royals with full 24 hours taxpayers funding security. But sure, continue your discussion and articles on how controversial Meghan's sold out chocolate is. Alright, they're making reference to the Yorks, similar to the Sarah Ferguson, has to do with the Epstein file. But yet, they're talking about Meghan trying to make a living. It's no joke, really. We need the courage to remove the corrupt royal family and the House of Lords. And we need to get rid of the pathetic middle-aged forelock tugging thing. They are far from superior to the rest of us. Moral void. I mean, they know what they're doing. This is why they cover all bases. Bases, what I mean, are offices, decision makers that will shape your life, that will shape their life, that will give them the security, give them all the money in the world for doing absolutely nothing. So they made sure they cover all their bases. It's gonna be hard to get rid of that. When you see when they go out, let's say for instance, one of the recent videos where William went somewhere when Harry was in the UK to defend his case, to testify in his case, and there was a heckler saying how long did he know about the Epstein, the Andrew thing. You have some women under the public trying to scream at the guy, how dare you asking such question. Yeah, they should ask those questions. You have people who's defending this type of behavior, and when somebody else speak out against it, people within the public are accusing the person who's there to ask the question. That's the problem we're having. If the population were on the same page, because there's more of us than them, these people will not be there. And then they have those, they cover themselves very well. This thing have been going on. Meanwhile, there are parents who's losing their kids to these stupid idiots. Why can't they do it with a consent adult their age? Why do they feel like it's children they have to do it to? Oh my God. Also, pedo Andrew sent pictures of his daughters, Beatrice and Eugenie, to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, if it's women, they don't care about women. Okay? Girls, they don't care. This is why some of those people usually sell their daughters, and then the fathers, get money and things like that. These people are sick. They are freaking sick. She was all over him like a rash because he was giving her money. He even complained to a friend about her. Exactly. The best thing to happen to Harry and Meghan is the distance. I guess this is why the book and printer was being mentioned. I love that book and printer. Yeah, there's all of that. Alright. Remember at the beginning, my very first tweet, where the squad were talking about the printer, and I said I didn't know what they're talking about. Okay, I have 2 more left after this one. Let me try to squeeze them. Alright, let's pause. Where are TikTok royal commentators to discuss Andrew, Sophia of Sweden and Marit of Norway being mentioned on the Epstein files. Alright, let's see. Let me connect some faces with these names of Norway. Let's see, who is that? Is this her son? Because this guy has issues raping somebody. Let's see here. 16th Norway, Crown Princess Mette Marit's son arrested over alleged assault ahead of trial on rape charges. So they arrested him. Very interesting. I'm aware of what's going on here. August 19, 1973. He's 52. Let me look some image. Alright, what was the other name? Sophia of Sweden. I think not too long ago someone had mentioned her name. Yeah, her. They all are freaking nasty. So are they still together? Is she a blood prince? No, I think she married Anne. No, yeah, she married Anne. Yeah, I just asked. Is Sophia of Sweden a blood princess? No, Sophia of Sweden. Okay, born Sophia, whatever. 1984. She's a Swedish commoner who became a member of the royal family through her marriage to Prince Carl Philip in 2015. Are they still together? Is there issues going on? I don't know. They all probably, all of it. They throw the women under the bus as usual. Anyway, I just wanted to put the names, the faces with the names. Alright, and how could I forget Sarah Ferguson talking about her daughters being on shagging parties? Not a peep from the royal expert too. This is probably not as important as talking about Meghan's gem. They're mostly palace paid. Some people can be hypocrites even without money. I did. Alright, can't thank you. They're likely busy pulling wicked out of candles. They're likely busy pulling wicks out of candles. It seems to be their latest brand of crazy. They're no longer expert during this time. They'll be back next to complain about the price of Meghan's chocolate. Also, none of the royal content creators now care about Andrew's victim or are concerned about the people affected by human trafficking and the royal family involvement and cover-ups. But for them, if Meghan doesn't talk about a particular issue, she's the worst woman in the world. Gummy is covering it. I'm shocked, okay? She did throw a post in between about Meghan's chocolate, of course. Mourning about the quality gem jaws is more important, it seems. Okay, I'm hoping a lot of them already deleted their TikTok. That platform is as good as dead in my opinion. So the squad are throwing shit because they're not talking about the pedophile, the Epstein file, but they rather talk about Meghan selling her gem, complaining. Okay, let's pause. I haven't stopped thinking about this for days and I'm still angry. Alright, so let's listen. The British state abused women through undercover policing. Alright, 1 minute and 23 seconds. There's no comment. Let's see here.
I learned something so disturbing the other day, and I guarantee you've never heard about it. Did you know that the British government sent undercover cops to sleep and form intimate relationships with socialist women? And this wasn't just a one-off. Between the 1960s and the 2010s, undercover officers were planted in left-wing and activist circles. And these men weren't just observing protests or infiltrating meetings. They formed long-term sexual and intimate relationships as part of their infiltration. Some of these relationships resulted in marriage. Some of these relationships resulted in children. And the entire time, the men were lying about who they were. They had fake identities. They lied about their pasts. Every time their partners wanted to meet their parents, they would come up with some kind of fabricated lie. And the types of movements that they infiltrated were things like Greenpeace UK, the anti-apartheid movement, union organisers, the Socialist Workers' Party. And do you know who they didn't infiltrate? No points if you get this one right. There is absolutely no evidence of infiltration of the far right using long-term intimate relationships and fake identities. So feminist, environmental, and anti-racist groups were treated as far more of a threat than the far right for 50 years. And so if you're wondering how we got here, perhaps it was the decades and decades of disproportionate treatment of the left and the demonization of socialism. And in case that wasn't enough, do you want to hear my favorite part of this all? Is that this was paid for through public money. Taxpayer dollars. Are you angry as well?
Oh my God. I don't know if she's true or she's telling the truth or not, but these are things I've said in the past before. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. I think over when there was some stuff I used to see about not my king thing in the UK, I used to say, I don't really trust them that much. I used to say that. I was like, it seems like they're there to just see how the people in the UK are feeling toward the monarchy. I said it a couple years ago, not too long ago. But I haven't been saying it as much, but occasionally I used to say that. But anyway, let's get back to the original recording. This is how they will know how the other side is thinking, so they could maneuver, reposition themselves. So I'm not surprised by this. What do I have next here? There's no comment on that. 88. Next tweet, and I think this is my last one. Alright, no black girls allowed on Epstein Island. Sometimes racism saved lives. Alright, why no black girls were allowed on Epstein Island?
No black girls allowed on Epstein Island? Here's why. Jeff gave in at some point and told him, yes, I'll find some friends. Jeff wanted young, fresh girls, virgins. He told, don't bring me any N-words. Never ever brought any friends. At this point in the interview, Attorney Barry advised the following. At Epstein's request, she at times met people on the beach and may have told them something to the effect of, if you want to party, go to Epstein's. Following statement. Shook her shoulders and head in the affirmative. Clarified that after what Jeff had done to her, she did not want it. The grapes and actual assaults to be repeated. And
it sounds like she said grapes, but it's the rapes. My God.
She decided finding other girls for him, strangers she found in town, might spare her more abuse. No black girls allowed on Epstein.
Oh my God, those women. I mean, when you think about it, alright, for those who were able to experience the true love, the way you wanted it, or you give permission, to cross the line with your significant other. These are sacred things. These are sacred things. These men used these young girls, took that away from them. And these women never the same again. If they sort of look like they're functioning, it's just that they block it. They find a way to block it so they don't think about it. These people there's something wrong with them. And the worst thing is they're looking for young kids who haven't even lived their lives yet. This is sick. The one-time racism ever saved lives. Thanks, Jesus. Blessing in disguise, that's the same thing again. No black girls allowed on Epstein Island. Sometimes racism saved lives. Nah, it's just the same old Epstein crew, Trump included, dropping in bombs and emails and calling innocent black teens guilty before the evidence was even in. Receipt attached, class bunch, pedo. Well, the thing is that they didn't abuse any black girls. They don't want any girls, so at least no black girls were abused. I think that's what it means here. Let's listen to this. Donahue, did he die? I think he died.
Roy Cohn, and he goes to work and you win it. Cohn doesn't like lawyers either because they always want to settle, and you don't like that about lawyers. The idea of settling drove me crazy. The fact was that we did rent to blacks in our buildings. What we didn't do was rent to welfare cases, white or black. I watched what happened when the government came after Samuel LaFrac, another builder, and he caved in and started taking welfare cases. They virtually ruined his buildings. Welfare cases ruined his buildings. Isn't that, aren't you pretty close here to looking like an insensitive guy from atop your Trump Tower looking down on the Woolman Rink over the vast holdings of your own empire? Shouldn't we have just a little more understanding from a man of your influence and wealth on the issue of making New York livable for all of us, safety on the subway? If the answer is absolutely, then we can't continue to give you guys these big tax breaks, and that's what does for General Electric and NBC too.
He had. That's what I was thinking. Those tax breaks. It's like freaking welfare and food stamp kind of, but they just name it differently for the rich. Oh my God. But anyway, this is it. I don't have any more, but the next video that I do will focus on that. Okay, this. Okay, which I took out from this video. Alright, so that is it. Please take a moment to subscribe, like, and share. If you want to support this channel, there's a PayPal link and a Cash App link in the description. You could donate. Those who have donated, thank you. Alright, so that's it. Thanks for watching.
It is a great privilege to be with all of you today.
You know, we ask for forgiveness and please come back.
As you saw me find the love and happiness that I'd hoped for all my life.
You are all in this together. And if I may speak personally, we are all in this together. Because asking for help was one of the best decisions that I ever made. You will be continually amazed how life changes for the better.